everyone, welcome to this new video. So it's officially 2024, which means I'll be doing a little reading wrap up of 2023. I have collected a list of my 10 favorite books that I've read in the past year. They're all pretty widespread. I have some fantasy books, some contemporary romance, some new adult romance. So I hope you guys will enjoy this video, and let's start with the first book. The first book that I rated 5 stars is Throne of Glass. I already discussed this one in one of my other videos where I talked about my favorite fantasy book series. I started reading Throne of Glass this year. I read Equitar the year before, and it became one of my favorite book series in the entire world, even though I had a lot of doubt about reading Throne of Glass for a really long time because I was afraid I wouldn't enjoy it and it would take away from my pleasure of reading Equitar. But after convincing myself, I finally decided to start reading this. It definitely did not disappoint me. It's one of the best books I have read. I don't want to say it's better than Equitar, but it definitely comes close, and it's definitely a 5-star read for me. So if you don't know what this series is about, it's about Selena, who is an assassin, and she is going to compete in a competition to become the official king's assassin. The book follows her as she goes through the competition. She makes friends, loses friends, she falls in love, she meets new people, she has to fight for her place in the court, which is just amazing. And especially if you continue on with the series, it's an 8-book series, you will find out that this world has so much in store for you. The world building is amazing. The characters are really amazing as well. They're really in depth. There are so many plot twists in this that you don't see coming from the beginning. So definitely read this if you are into fantasy and romance, and just read this. It's so amazing. So my second 5-star read is The Final Offer by Lauren Asher. This was one of my favorite books as well this year. I loved the other 2 ones from this series, The Fine Print and Terms and Conditions. Terms and Conditions is actually my favorite of these 3, but I read it last year, so I can mention it. But this one was amazing as well, so I had to include it in this list, especially because of how much I love the series. Lauren Asher is an amazing writer, and basically all her books are amazing, so I can't wait to see what she comes up with in the future. But this book follows the 3rd Kane brother. Each one of the books follows a Kane brother, and this one is the 3rd. It's Cal. He has been struggling with alcohol abuse and just basically not being able to get his life together. When the brother's grandparent dies, who is a billionaire, they are as well. They all have to do something in order to get their inheritance from their grandfather. The first 2 books are about the other 2 brothers doing their part of the inheritance collecting, and this one is about Cal, who's trying to collect his inheritance. He goes back to, it's not like their hometown, but their grandfather has a house in his little town, lake town. In that house lives Cal's ex-girlfriend, with her, not necessarily her daughter, but it's her sister's daughter, I think. I don't know. I'm not really sure anymore because I read this in the beginning of the year, so it's kind of a little bit blurry. But she is his ex-girlfriend. They both still kind of harbor feelings for each other, and throughout the book he has to win her over and get her back because he messed up in the past. He just has to do so much in order to gain her back, and it's very slow burn and amazing. And the way Cal is to Alana, which is his ex-girlfriend, the way he is to her daughter is just so amazing, and just everything about this book is perfect. So please read this if you enjoy a good slow burn romance with billionaires and a childhood love in it, then this is the perfect book for you. The next book I read is Queen Charlotte. I read this after watching the Netflix show, which was amazing. I love Bridgerton. It's my favorite book series ever. When this series came out, I was so excited, and I loved the series, so I really wanted to buy the book as well. It's basically the same, but I just wanted to mention it anyway because it's so good. It's a little more, I don't want to say in depth. It is a little bit different from the series because this came out after, so it's like written for the series, I guess, instead of the series being based on the books like with the Bridgerton series. But it's still amazing. The love between Charlotte and George is just so brilliant and so amazing. This is definitely a must read if you like historical romance and you are into Bridgerton or anything like that. The next book is Kingdom of the Wicked. I really love this one as well. Once again, it took me a while to get into this book because I thought it might be a little too dark for me, but it actually wasn't at all. It's about witches and hell and demons, which I know sounds really dark, but it's better than expected. I really like this book. It takes place in Italy and Sicily, I think, and it is about a witch, Amelia, who her sister gets killed, her twin sister, and she is desperate to find out what happened to her, and in order to find out, she makes a deal with a demon, Wrath, one of the 7 princes of hell, and they go on this big adventure to figure out what happened to her sister. It's a lot of deceiving and plot twists, and it's just really nice to go to try and figure out what happened and what's going on, because there's so much happening, but in a good way. I still have to read the 3rd book in the series, Kingdom of the Feared, but I really like the 2nd one as well, so I really recommend you read this if you are into any of these topics. King of Pride is also one of my favorite reads of this year. It's the 2nd book in the King of Sins series by Anna Wang. She's one of my favorite authors. This book follows Kai and Isabella. Kai is a billionaire and Isabella as a waitress, and it follows how they fall in love and how they meet, and just their story is just so amazing. And Kai is honestly such a romantic and good person, mostly in like the billionaire types of romance books. The billionaire is kind of like an asshole who is like, oh, I hate everyone but her, but Kai isn't really like that. He's much sweeter, and I don't know, I found him like a fresh breath of air, you know, in comparison to other types of these books. So I really recommend you read this because I don't know, it's just amazing. Especially if you love a good billionaire romance, which is also spicy, then you will like this as well. So the next book is, I think I can say that this is my favorite read of the year. I know that a lot of people hype this book up, but believe me when I say that it's simply amazing. So I'm talking about Heartless by Elsie Silver. So first of all, this entire book series is amazing. This is the 2nd book in the book series, and it's a cowboy romance, which somehow this year I've been getting really into that, and I know a lot of people have been. It's kind of my favorite genre this year, and I'm really excited to read more in the coming year. This book follows Cade, and he is a single father who owns a ranch along with his father. He's very grumpy. In order to care for his son, he hires a nanny who is a city girl. She's a little bit younger than him, but it's like not an uncomfortable age gap. It's a very nice age gap because she's like in her mid-20s. He's like in his mid-30s as well. It's like a 13-year age gap, but they're both adults, and it's not 1 second uncomfortable, which sometimes there are like age gaps in books that make me a little bit eerie, but this one is just perfect. And just Cade is such a perfect man. It's like very grumpy sunshine, and the tension between these two is just, it's amazing. And if you are into cowboy romance or just small town romance, maybe like an age gap, a little forced proximity, which is definitely in this because they live together, you will definitely enjoy this book. Any of the books in this series are amazing, and I recommend you read them as well. But you can read this as a standalone, but I would just say read them in the good order, because that just makes the experience even better. The next book is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This was also one of my favorite reads this year. I waited to read this book for a really long time because I really wanted to read it, and I saw so many good things about it, and everything they say is true. It was very refreshing to read this because it really reminded me of the old school rom-coms, like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, 10 Things I Hate About You, just the rom-coms like that. It was very much like those. I really liked the relationship between Wes and Liz, and just it was so amazing the way, I don't know, Wes is honestly such an amazing guy, and I liked their little fake dating scheme and just everything about this book. I don't want to spoil too much because of how amazing it is, and I went into it pretty much without knowing a lot about it, which made the experience even better. So I really recommend you read this year. Another book by Lynn Painter that I really loved is The Do-Over. So The Do-Over is about Emily, and she relives the same day over and over again, which is the Valentine's Day that she finds out her boyfriend cheated on her. I know it doesn't sound fun at all to relive the entire day that your boyfriend cheated on you again and again and again, but believe me, it's amazing because every morning she gets into a car crash with this guy from her class, from one of her classes, at least. I'm not really sure anymore what it was. But every day, even though she tries to avoid it, it still happens. You can also see it on the cover. And every day she ends up meeting him again and again, and she tries to stop her boyfriend from cheating on her, and just no matter what she does, she keeps reliving the day. It's very much Groundhog Day or The Edge of Tomorrow from Tom Cruise, this movie. I always used to love that movie as a child. So the idea of this book really excited me, and it was as good as I hoped it would be. The ending was it wasn't unexpected, but I didn't expect it to end when it did. So I really liked that. And just the ending was amazing as well, and just I really recommend you read it if you are into those types of books. I really enjoyed this book, so you will as well if you like those things. The next book is perfect for reading in the summer. It's The Summer of Broken Rules. I love the cover as well, and just this entire book, it's amazing. It follows this girl Meredith, who has just broken up with her boyfriend, and she goes to a sort of wedding where they go to a family vacation kind of thing, where they all used to go years earlier. But this time it's different because her sister isn't with her because she lost her a few months back. She's kind of still in a depressed loop because of that. But once there, she meets this guy, and I don't know, they start hanging out, and there's also this little game going on. It's this assassin game where they have to kill each other with water guns, and then they get assigned the target of the person they killed, and eventually there are 2 people left who have a showdown. Just this book is amazing if you like summer reads. I love to read this in the summer vacation. It was amazing. It was a very original book, especially with the game happening. It kind of reminded me of like a story in a story. This book was just amazing. It had a lot of different tropes. It was just good vibes all over. So I really recommend you read this. The last book in this list is from the same author. It's What Happens After Midnight, which I think I liked even more than The Summer of Broken Rules. But this book is a second chance romance. It follows Lily, who has broken up with her boyfriend a few months or something ago, and it's the end of their high school year. And every year this school has a jokester or something like that, or it's a jester. They pull like this really big end of the year prank, like this graduation prank. This year she gets recruited to help, but she doesn't know who it is. She didn't expect herself to be recruited, but when she goes there, it turns out her ex-boyfriend is the jester. He has come up with this big plan the night before the yearbooks come out to pull this really big prank on this guy who is into Lily. Lily goes along with it, along with a few friends, and they go on this really fun nightly adventure, which is basically almost the entire book. Happens in just one night. It's just amazing, all the pranks they pull, and how you see Lily and her ex-boyfriend grow closer together. You find out why they broke up with each other, and just everything that's happening. And it's just an amazing book. I really loved this as well, just to see them rekindle and sort out their differences and get back together eventually. And just this book was really amazing if you like a second chance romance. Yeah, I really like the scene as well, because it's like this little private high school town, I guess. It's like for these really rich kids, and it's just an amazing book. So please read this if you like this. So those were my top 10 books that I read in 2023. Honestly, I've read so many more books that I really enjoyed. I read 68 books in total, but I had to make a small selection because otherwise this video would be too long. These are definitely my top 10 favorites, which I really enjoy. I'm really excited to read more books like this year. I'm really excited to read more cowboy romances as well. So let me know what you guys' reading goals are for this year. My goal is honestly to read 60 books because I'm really busy with school. So I hope to read at least 60 books, hopefully even 70. But yeah, and I hope to read a lot of diverse books, finish some book series that I'm currently reading. And thank you guys for watching this video. I hope to see you in my next one. Bye bye!